All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending Transit Matters. My name is Nick Shelberg, and I am joined by my colleagues Camille Correa, Carrie Miller, and John Savage. Um, we'll start things off with a safety message from John.
All right, there we go. Unmuted. All right, so this month we've had a couple of heat advisories already. And so the safety topic this month is to just talk about passenger steps that they can take to try to avoid exposure during heat emergencies. A couple of things that we want to remind passengers of is that one, they can always call the dispatcher before they head out to the stop, especially if they have a stop that typically has a delay in service. So as an example, along Amherst Street in the afternoon, we tend to run a little later. So the passengers are encouraged to call ahead before they go out and wait if it's really hot out, to cut down on that sun exposure. We also want to point out that the city does a pretty good job of trying to activate community resources. So the city reaches out to shopping centers, the library, the soup kitchen, things like that, to try to set up cooling centers to get people out of their houses, because ultimately we don't want, especially seniors who have, um, second story or third story apartments, to stay in their apartment and try to ride it out without air conditioning, just because that creates a public health concern. I also listed there that the riders are allowed to bring water bottles on the bus during heat emergencies, especially. The drivers will not give the passengers any issue as long as they're carrying a water bottle that has a cap. It's really easy to clean up water off the floor, and we'd rather you were hydrated than coming on the bus and starting your day out of the house without water. Yeah, so we just want to encourage everyone to take heat advisories seriously and to take steps to make sure that they're safe. I have a few driver updates. In the last 2 months, we had 2 new drivers earn their CDLs. So these were both drivers who started with us without all of their endorsements in order to be able to be qualified to drive the full-size buses. And we've been successful in helping them to make that transition. And now they're starting the process of training on the full-size buses and learning the routes from a full-size bus driver's perspective so that they can be in service driving full-size buses. We also have one driver who currently has her CDL in training, and she should be finishing in the next week and a half or so. So she'll be hitting the road starting on the 21st. That's Monday, and her name is Pamela. She comes to us with a background in driving school buses, which is why she's already licensed. In addition, we hired 2 new non-CDL drivers who both actually started service last week. That's Jessica and Henry. And so right now they're primarily driving the 1, 7, and 12. So you might see them out there. They'll be driving vans until they also get their licenses. And they're both motivated to get that CDL and to move up in the company.
Thank you, John. Just a quick announcement on Hampton Beach. We just want to update you guys to let everyone know that we unfortunately will not be able to send a bus to Hampton Beach for this month, as service within Nashua is being prioritized. However, there is still a chance that we go in September. That trip is still on hold. We'll be making an announcement soon, probably by the end of the month, if not sooner. So be on the lookout for that. Check the website and our social media, and we will update you guys as soon as we know. The June surveys also wrapped up. Some of the highlights were that we received 76 responses in total. Most participants agreed or strongly agreed that NTS bus drivers are helpful and kind, which is great to hear, and that most participants rate their average trip with us as a 4 out of 5 or better, which again is awesome. Most participants also say that extending service on Saturdays and expanding it to Sundays would make their experience with NTS better. We also have 2 prize winners. Congratulations to Jordan and Hector for winning the monthly pass and the gift card. And again, thank you to everyone who participated by filling out a survey. We really appreciate it, and this data is very important to us. Camille, do you want to talk about the program of projects?
Thank you, Nick. Nashua Transit System would like passengers and the community at large to understand how transportation projects receive funding. Anyone interested in learning more about how transportation projects are federally funded, locally funded, or are specified in what's called the Transportation Improvement Plan or the State Transportation Improvement Plan, we would like you to know more about step 1 through all the different steps in order to find out how a transportation project receives funding from the federal government and then puts it into action in the community. The program of projects in general have 3 separate areas. One is the Nashua Transit System that will oversee a local area program of projects for grants. We have a 2024 grant, which starts July 1st of 2023 to June 30th of 2024. You can see listed here that we have 3, a 5307 capital planning and operating, a 5310 senior and persons with disabilities grant, and a 5337 capital projects grant. What we'll do is go into more detail in September at a transportation funding workshop that Nashua Transit System will be hosting, along with a different organization, Nashua Regional Planning Commission. So what happens is with the Nashua Transit System, in order to put these grants into the federal coffers or into the federal grant system, we have to start with the Nashua Regional Planning Commission doing a 30-day public hearing on putting that money into what's called the STIP and TIP. And then what happens is the New Hampshire Department of Transportation puts that money into a document called the State Transportation Improvement Program. And once all of that is in place, and again, we'll go into more detail in September, then the grant will move forward at the federal level, and then that money will be put into a budget, and then it will be utilized to provide services for capital projects such as replacing a lift in a maintenance bay, purchasing vehicles, replacing equipment and or shelters or bus stops or bus stop poles, and just to assist with everyday transportation needs in order to move that transportation forward, whether it be a resource for personnel or a capital rolling stock investment. But in order to do that, we also need to plan. And so this capital and planning goes together, including the operating portion of the grant, which puts the route actually on the road. The 5307 is a general grant for any person who would ride public transit, which is different than the 5310 grant, which is for persons who are seniors and persons with disabilities. And then the 5337 as listed here is just a capital grant. So we'll start with step 1 and move all the way through to putting a grant in place and putting the route on the road. So anyone interested, we will be posting the transportation funding workshop. It will be in September, and we will post the date and the information on our website, and we will send it out just as we do a Transit Matters meeting. One of the reasons why it's in September is because at our next meeting in October, we will be holding a public hearing right after the Transit Matters meeting. So we'll hold the Transit Matters meeting in October, and then we will hold our public hearing for what's called the program of projects. According to the Federal Transit Administration, which is the federal funding agency for all transportation programs, for air, for rail, for bus, what we would like to do is make sure that when we open up this public hearing, that we coordinate it with our next Transit Matters meeting. So we'll open it in September and we'll close it in October on the same day that we have our Transit Matters meeting. It will be 2 separate meetings, but at least you can just come and participate in both meetings on the same day, and it should take about an hour or so for both the workshop and the Transit Matters meeting. Thank you.
And for those of you who are interested in learning more, you can go to both the NRPC website and the New Hampshire DOT's website to learn more about the STIP and TIP. All you have to do is just go to either of these websites, and then just using the search tools, you can look for STIP and TIP related documents. Next, I'm going to provide an overview of our most recent service changes that happened in July. They started on July 10th. And just to give an overview, the weekday and Saturday services now operate the same routes. The routes 19 and 712 have been discontinued and replaced with their individual routes. So the 19 has been disbanded into the 19, or the Route 1 and Route 9, and the Route 712 has been disbanded into the Route 7 and Route 12. All daytime routes except the 3 and the 5 have now returned to weekday and Saturday service, and night service has returned to Saturdays. This is what the current daytime system map looks like. As you can see, the routes available here are the Route 1, 2, 2A, 6, 6A, 7, 9, and 12. And this map is available on our website at rideBigBlue.com under the Services tab and the Routes and Schedules menu option. Nighttime service, as mentioned before, is now available on Saturdays as well as weekdays. Other than that, the routes remain the same, both the north and the south, and just like the daytime service map, the nighttime service map can be found at our website in the same place under the services menu, under routes and schedules. As a reminder, we are here to help. Please contact us if you have any questions or comments regarding the service changes. If you need any help getting around or understanding which routes are best for you to take, please contact us. Don't hesitate to reach out. You can call us at 603-880-0100, or you can email us at ntsfeedback@nashuanh.gov. And in case you haven't already, we strongly recommend going to our website and signing up for text and email alerts for the Alert Center and Newsflash.